Shalom, Yasha Allah. First and foremost, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chachadash. Double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect Akim out there laboring that are pushing this word and this truth in sincerity and honesty. Doing all that you can, especially in these last days, risking your lives and your freedom to do so. This is your brother Amar. And I'm out here wanting to do this lesson, based on a comment that was left on GMS Boise, Idaho, our camp. A comment that was left on that video from last camp. This was, I'm assuming, was Issacharite, and we have these Asiatic black men or these Asiatic Latinos, which we've seen these groups up before. But, through the Spirit, it's just a good time and a chance to highlight how even to this day, the envy of Judah and Ephraim, the northern and the southern kingdom, as a majority, still don't get along, and it's changing, more than it used to be in the past, like when my dad was growing up or whatever. Issachar and Northern Kingdom used to not fuck with at all Judah, but now things are changing. The tribes are starting to realize that they have a lot more in common than they have in differences. They like to party and bullshit. They have a spirit of a rhythm. Stuff like that. So I'm just saying. Now at this point, Jake is starting to come together for prophecy. But as a mass majority, you hard-headed ass Latinos still think that you're better in some way, shape, or form than a so-called black man just because of your either financial status or because you have a country or because you're not, have that negative connotation of what Esau has taught the world to be racist. So, not to keep rambling, Salakia, I'm going to read the scripture that I have in this lesson, and also in Ezekiel 37, and then I'm going to bring some other scriptures. But this is the comment from Asiatic 777. You are Mexicans, and this is what he commented for the brother Hanania and I. He says, you are Mexicans, are Hebrews, Habirus, from the Oriental. So this nigga probably fucking thinking that we're still from crossing the Bering Strait. It says, continuing, it says, Hyksos, not these American blacks that helped to enslave our native brothers and sisters, Latinos. So you're confused. Where do you even get that term, Latinos? You are taking their mark, because he's bugged out for the fact that we're saying you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that we're accounting ourselves as the same nation, the same people as the so-called black man. And that's something that the brother Hanania always points out, and mentions. He says, he always says it like, you fucking Mexican, you fucking Latinos that don't want to, so-called, he says it in his own words, but like pretty much to bow down to the black man, bow down to the Judite, because you don't want to, listen to somebody like that because of your years of being taught by Esau's, cultural norm to hate the so-called black man. When you fucking Issacharites and you Northern Kingdom are just as bunch of niggas yourself, man. And I'll say it just point blank like that, man. You're not any better, than these so-called darker people. I'm not saying it's a color thing, but this is reference of the tension that the Northern Kingdom has against the Southern Kingdom. Man, you're going to see that Esau is going to treat you the same. And in a way, there is rank and order amongst the tribes. And if you want to say, oh, they're better than us, they are the kings of the nation of Israel, the tribe of Judah. So you're either going to get down or you're going to get laid down. Like Luke 19:27 says that any, that shall not that I should reign over them, roughly paraphrasing, bring them hither and slay them before me. So you Jakes that don't want to get in order after the kingdom has been established, hey, the only thing that is left at that point is, to be unalived and hit that restart button on you, man. But this is the comment I responded with. I said, Northern and Southern kingdoms have been at war since the split of the kingdom, but the elect of both those nations of the same Israelite, in parentheses Jacob, forefather, are coming back to unify against our mutual oppressor, the white man, aka Esau Edom. So this nigga not worried about the solution. He's looking at another problem that doesn't need to be addressed, which is the enmity between Judah and Ephraim, the northern and the southern kingdom. This is Ezekiel 37:16. I added it to my response. This is, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. So again, Israel and Judah are compatible to be grafted to each other, to make one stick, one nation. And if you know anything about the grafting process, you cannot take an apple tree, for example, an apple tree or a pear tree, and pair it with a citrus tree. You can't add it to a mango tree. You can't add it to a lime tree. You can't add it to an orange tree. They aren't the same genetics. They're going to reject each other. But something that is the same, let's say, lack of better words and use Esau's, verbiage, is the same genealogy are the only plants that can genetically fit together, and not look at each other's genetics as something that is foreign and needs to be attacked, So that's point blank period. Farming 101. There's a lot of farming and different, husbandry comparisons in the Bible. And the word husbandry just means farming, planting, sowing, this fruit, that fruit, good fruit, bad fruit, see what I'm saying? Because grafting is a part of the farming process, So I'm going to get to these scriptures because that comment just pointed and stuck out to me. I wanted to point it out, and just show you that to this day, man, which is something that we're not surprised at, that you fucking hard-headed ass so-called Latinos are still envious of Judah, man, and all their talents and the different styles that they came out with that you didn't, man, where your ass is fucking stuck in the rancho. Judah was out here, living good in Babylon the Great, and for some reason y'all want to look down on Judah when he was catching just as much hell under the white man as you. But you think, you fucking Latinos think that hating on the so-called black man is somehow gonna get you bartering points and get you in good with Esau. You fucking sellouts, man. But at the point, Isaiah 11:10, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse. And this is Jesse, which came from tribe of Judah, which is the father of King David. And we know that Yahweh Shai is from the lineage of David, and so that is why we say that this scripture is talking about Yahweh Shai, which shall stand for an ensign of the people too. It shall, Salakia, which shall stand for an ensign of the people too. It shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And we know that Yahweh Shai opened up that second covenant for the Gentiles to come in, so that we're not completely saved out off the law. Because in this wicked bodies, in this chains of darkness known as this fleshly body, we cannot be perfect according to the law. Verse 11, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. That's the four corners of the world where the Israelite elect is going to be scattered, where that Yahweh Shai, when he comes and with his angels, are going to gather up the elect and give them new bodies. Verse 12, and he shall set an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel. So he's lifting up a big banner. This is, this, and it's going to be point blank pure what it is, because there's going to be chariots all over the place. And ultimately that banner, that ensign, is the prophets that are telling you these things before they happen. Isaiah 11:12 again. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Verse 13, this is one of the major points of this lesson. Verse 13, the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. If Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Point blank period, man. That split of the kingdom, that enmity between brothers, that am I and my brother's keeper, bitch ass spirit that Cain had, is going to be taken away. Because that spirit, of wickedness, the Israelites learned. That's why that these motherfuckers are Israelites, because they don't even have any mercy on their own. They're too worried about trying to be the top dog, man. They're quick to sell out, to their fellow brethren for a fucking bag that Esau dangles in front of them, So, I don't want to keep rambling on, just make it a quick point, that these bug outs and these 2/3, they're not going to see the benefit of the unity between the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that make up and consist of the 12 tribes of Israel, because they are not a part of the elect. These so-called, Latino only or black only Israelites, man, y'all missing a major section of the puzzle you're trying to put together. And that's what the Bible is, a big puzzle. But if you don't believe in the Bible, and you're trying to explain why things are the way they are between the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and you're trying to use the white man science to justify why that's happening, the Asiatic black man, the Asiatic Latino, give me a fucking break, man. Y'all are simple, y'all are corny, y'all sellouts that don't want to have faith because the Lord didn't give you any in the scriptures, which is your only lifeline out of here, man. So we don't feel bad for you still trying to fucking hate on the so-called black man because of their state of dealing with the curses, because they're not rich and powerful and have all this money and shit. You don't think you got to respect them? You motherfuckers are disgusting, man. You Israelites that think you're better than the so-called black man from the tribe of Judah, when the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, set up the order amongst the tribes, and you think you're going to circumvent somehow being the top dog? It's not how it's going to work, man. Let everything be done decently and in order. And ultimately, you Northern Kingdom Israelites are just jealous of the so-called black man, whether it be for whatever reason, man. Y'all for whatever reason wish you could be them, and you are not. And that's usually what it comes from. Oh, why they got their hat like that? Oh, why they got to dress like that? Oh, why they got to be all flamboyant like that? Where they you just hating, man. Every tribe has their own spirit. So again, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are one people of the nation of Israel. And I'm going to show a picture real quick that I always like to use. Obviously, the 12 tribes chart. Number 1, that we are one people from Judah all the way down to Issachar. As well as the mutual enemy that we have, Esau Edom, self-proclaimed white man. Salakia, I'm coming up on it right here. But this is a picture that if anybody wanted to screenshot, it's one of those pictures that, I always bring up. I have it posted at camp. But right here, man, all suffered slavery. And we are one people. And even though we don't have the same carnal physical appearance, which if we're one nation of 12 tribes, why would we all look the same? It doesn't even make sense. If there's 12 tribes in one nation, the nation of Israel, why would we all look the same? Doesn't make any sense. So Lord willing that this lesson was edifying unto the elect, because they're the only ones who are going to receive it. The rest are going to be confused, bored, or just don't believe it. So Lord willing that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chachadash, and double honors to the beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. And peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect Akim out there laboring, that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing, Shalom.